Hey guys, James here again. This is going to be What If Mihawk trained Deku, the redo. This is one of my more popular series on my channel, and after this What If and my other What If for Deku, the redos, I'm probably not going to do a single MHA What If ever again in my life, because I said this a few times, I'm not that big of an MHA fan. Yes, I like it, but not my thing at all whatsoever. Like, this What If, and then Katakuri Deku What If. So, that's the last two. This What If, then the next one. Those are my last MHA series I'll probably ever do on my channel unless I change my opinion. But also it's because, like, a few MHA videos I had before I've deleted because the fandom was fucking toxic in the comments or weird. Like, oh, you can't do that. Deku should be with this person. Or no, that power sucks for Deku. He shouldn't have that. I don't care. It's annoying and I delete the videos because the fandom's weird. So, yeah, the fandom's just fucking weird and creepy to me. So I don't ever do MHA What Ifs unless they're redos now. But yeah. So let's start this What If off. So, in this one, basically Bakugo would have a sister, Hanami. All Might is Midoriya's dad. I'm pretty sure I had that in this one, in the original one. And this would lead to basically Izuku's sister that he has would inherit not all for one, but inherits one for all. All Might and Ingo are basically scumbags because the sister is born with a quirk that's basically just just telekinesis but not strong. She's one for all when she's around 8 years old, and then that basically gives her like Kageyama level telekinesis. But this family's a dick. He leaves. Midori leaves them in the middle of the night. And one night, an old man who would be basically just wandering around would pick up Midoriya. He sees Midoriya passed out in the street, picks him up, and takes him to his fishing boat. Midoriya's still asleep, so because of this, really, the man just sails away. Midoriya abandoned his family because they're assholes. I don't need to go in detail on that. Bakugo still bullied him. Izumi helped Bakugo bully Midoriya. Izumi is Midoriya's sister. So yeah, eventually when Midoriya gets to a random island, who wakes up on a random island in gigantic castle. He looks around, seeing Mihawk training, and Mihawk, yes, is an old man, but is ripped as hell. He looks just like Rayleigh, but a few hundred years older. We've seen basically Dr. Crayab live to be super old and still seem fit, and basically the only explanation that Oda gave us is that she's superhuman, and Mihawk is the best swordsman in the world who beat Zoro like it was nothing. So I think he fits the definition of superhuman. So Mihawk can live a few extra 100 years, almost a millennia. I'll give him that. He's a fucking vampire, but whatever you want to call him. He just lives a long time. So yeah. Now Midoriya wakes up, walks around, and asks Mihawk how to get here. He says that he saw Midoriya passed out in the rain, so he picked him up and brought him in. But he does ask Midoriya why he was on the street, and Midoriya shares his whole family situation. Mihawk feels bad, and honestly, in a pity, he actually volunteers, he feels really bad, so he just volunteers to train Midoriya himself. Or at least, just get him up, so at least he's able to live on his own. Midoriya agrees to that, and for a year, Midoriya nothing else to do but chores. So eventually, Midoriya actually wants to train with Mihawk, and Mihawk's kind of shadowing him. Mihawk knows this, but wants to see how long Midoriya can do this and do good. So with Itoryu, Midoriya excels. With Nitoryu, Midoriya is doing okay. But Santoryu, that's where he struggles. Mihawk training Zoro, I assume, may have actually picked up Three-Sword Style, or at least from one of the apes. He might have picked it up. So Mihawk doesn't, I assume, would know Three-Sword Style in his old age, because he lives with apes that copy everything. So, yeah. The apes are not there anymore, they're long extinct. But Mihawk knows every single sword style that there is to mankind. So when Midoriya is struggling with Santoryu, teaches that to Midoriya, but helps him master Itoryu, Nitoryu, Santoryu, and eventually Mihawk does have old age when Midoriya is 13. So Midoriya began practicing with Mihawk when he was 9, and kind of being shadowing him when he was 8, and practicing when he was 9. And, now that was a total of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 5 years of training. 5 years proper sword training. Well, 1 year of improper, yet really good sword training. Then the rest of the years are just insanely practical sword training. Midoriya basically learned every single sword martial art known to mankind. Less Mihawk's own style. But now, when Midoriya returns to the land, because Mihawk's dead, he buried him, Midoriya went on taking Mihawk's blade, and hence wear a basic green hoodie. And Midoriya's hair is just very long and shaggy, kind of down to his collarbone, and just looks very calm. Walks around until he gets to a middle school. Now, he's able to, get a really big guitar case and put his sword in there, Max Blade. And he's on the same height as Mihawk. He's towering over everyone. I'm pretty sure Mihawk is 6'6". Yeah, 6'6", 6'7", around there. And towering over everyone he comes by. Occasionally he'll come by someone taller. But, well, he's not, he wouldn't be 6'6", he's 13. Yes, some 13-year-olds are insanely tall, but I'll give Midoriya 6'3". Still towering over a few people. But Midoriya learned three types of hockey: Conquerors, Observation, and Armament hockey. He hasn't learned Ryuo yet, but he's in the middle of trying to learn it. Because Mihawk died before he can teach him that. But Midoriya is able to basically complete his training of Observation hockey to the point where he can not see through, but he basically has mastered Curry and Luffy's abilities with Observation. Plus, he can use it to see emotion and see farther distances. Armament hockey can cut through everything even without it, but armament hockey basically just lets him create stronger slashing shockwaves. So yeah. But back to just Midoriya at the middle school. So he basically is able to use Observation hockey to track down All Might or Small Might. All Might. So All Might would pick up Izumi, and they kind of feel this ominous presence. And they see this boy walk by, who's pretty tall, but his green hair, they can't mistake it. They turn around, and they see Midoriya. Bakugo's look confused, look at the green hair, and look at how it was. He tells Midoriya, and Bakugo scoffs, saying, "Deku, we thought you were dead." Suddenly, some half of Bakugo's hair sliced clean off. Midoriya smirked, turning around, and saying, And here I thought you'd at least have enough respect for me to at least know my name." Now everyone immediately froze, realizing that Midoriya's hand was out, but there was no blade. And what they do see the tip of Midoriya's fingers are black. Now immediately, they're all confused, and All Might says, "So you awakened your quirk, huh?" Midoriya nodded, saying, "Yep," and after years of analyzing it, I'm telling you this with confidence. One for all can't touch this. They all immediately freeze, realizing because they realize this is probably true, because Midoriya's always miles ahead of Izumi and Bakugo's intelligence, and he's not known as a liar. So either he's stupid now, which is unlikely, or he's telling the truth. So immediately, All Might says, "Come with me." Midoriya says, "I'm not getting in the car with this excuse of a family. I'll walk." Izumi, Bakugo, Inko, and All Might get in the car. They drive off. Suddenly, Midoriya disappears and follows the car. But you have to be pretty insane to see Midoriya. All Might began driving as fast as he could to get away from Midoriya, because if Midoriya truly is stronger than him and Izumi combined, because he says his quirk is better than All for One. Well, it is better than All for One and One for All. All Might doesn't want to know if Midoriya's out for revenge. In case Midoriya is following him, he will drive to Deku Beach. It's very crowded, no one goes there. So he goes there. When he parks the car, he doesn't see Midoriya anywhere around. So he looks at the roof of his car, seeing Midoriya sitting there eating an apple. And then Midoriya sighs, saying, "How fast are you going? 2 miles an hour?" He says, 180. Midoriya sighs, saying, "Too slow." He jumps off, as he says, I haven't had time to run around and grab an apple. Yes, I paid for it, damn hero. And I had time to eat it and peel it. Holds it up, and it's a peeled apple. And Midoriya's just eating it chill. Oop, got my phone. These are my thumbnails. But he finishes eating his apple, and I asked All Might what he wanted. And say All Might or Daddy says Toshinori. So Izumi powered up along with Bakugo, holding on his hands. And All Might had buffed up. Well, he's already kind of buffed up, got in the car and debuffed. And they attacked Midoriya. Well, first they say, "We're going to fight you," and they attack Midoriya. But after around 5 minutes of just dust around them, they think they killed him, but Midoriya isn't even phased. They realize that All Might is being held back with a single finger, and his wrist was obviously broken. Bones coming out of it. All Might was yelling and screaming in pain, because Midoriya basically just flicked his wrist full force using arm hockey and snapped it. And so yeah. Eventually, Izumi was panicking, because All Might was brought to his knees with a single finger. Izumi tried to use telekinesis on Midoriya. Yes, he was floating, but he just used tons of Conqueror's hockey to push Izumi to her knees. And Bakugo went for his guitar case, wondering what was in there, and wanted to blow it up because it might have been important. Suddenly, Midoriya's gone. not Midoriya, the guitar case, holding not a board, a blade is at Bakugo's neck. Everyone noticed that was a sword, and they realized what happened with Bakugo's hair thing. Bakugo was pretty pissed off with that. His hair still looks ugly. Midoriya was able to become a swordsman using his quirk, or if they think it's a quirk, it's just really just his will to fight. But with the sword at Bakugo's neck, Bakugo immediately pissed himself. Midoriya laughs, saying, "Bakugo, the infamous bully, pisses himself at the mercy of some quirkless loser. Pitiful." Because Bakugo was hard enough to break his nose and his jaw, and knock out a few teeth. Hanami, on the other hand, was at a school club, so she didn't know what was going on. But she did hear that Midoriya was back from a few students. So yeah, Bakugo holds his face, as a few teeth follow his mouth bleeding excessively, and so is his nose. The Midoriya looked at Izumi and kicked her in the face and walked away. He then says that he'll be enrolling in every school they go to just to make their lives hell. They owe him for making his life hell for 8 years. So what he'll do to them is going to be all the rage he's balled up for them for those 8 years. And honestly, Midoriya's lying. He doesn't care about them whatsoever. Mihawk taught him peace, but he wanted to scare his family. He got his vengeance. Now, eventually Midoriya does, a few years pass, and all the times they're able to realize that Midoriya was lying to them, because they didn't see him at school once. In reality, well, Mihawk was fucking loaded. So he took every single bit of Mihawk's money that Mihawk left for inheritance. Well, no one really knew Mihawk existed. His island was hidden, because if you were near it, Mihawk just use some... If someone give him Conqueror's Haki, you use a burst of Haki, knock you out, and let the ship sail past his island. So no one ever knew it existed. So even on maps, it's hard to note down, because no one ever close enough to see his island. But if you can see his research about a certain distance, you either get killed or something. You don't get close enough to his island to know. So there's even a castle there. You see a bit of rock, and that's it. So it's either noted as a small island of rock, or just ball of a floating bit of rock, just some spiky rocks coming out of the ocean, or Mystery Island. But Mihawk had a lot of money there over the centuries. So Midoriya is able to at least exchange the money to make it more current, and it basically makes Midoriya one of the richest men in Japan. So yeah, Midoriya just runs some private schools, and just keeps on turning with a sword. He's a sword collector. He runs a few dojos. Has money flowing like crazy. So eventually, we go to his high school years. Well, first off, the sludge villain, Bakugo handles that because he trains a lot harder. Because first off, Midoriya technically broke a few bones on knocking out teeth, and broke his jaw and his nose, so he was just pretty pissed off. But yeah. So yes, we're gonna go to the UA entrance exam. So first things first. All Might did recommend Bakugo and Izumi, but it tell them to keep an eye out for Midoriya. When they tell them to keep an eye out for Midoriya, they're kind of shocked, saying, "Oh, he donated. I'm gonna use dollars. He donated tens of millions of dollars to UA. This is like, we don't want to look out for him. We want to have him at UA. He can keep donating, funding our programs. We're even able to make more to enhance UA." All Might did see how much money Midoriya donated and how enhanced UA was because of it. All Might sighs, not realizing he's not being able to do anything. When I thought asks for an explanation, All Might doesn't tell him a thing, but does tell Nezu about what he did and does regret it. But Midoriya is out for vengeance. He is not, but All Might thinks he is. And All Might shows his broken wrist and how he can't really use it properly anymore. But he's still able to be a hero, just only using one arm. But back to this. Well, All Might can use both arms, it's just harder to use one of them. Yeah, so this is like, alright then, well, pause. So Deku would end up going all the way down to he ended up going to UA, and All Might's kind of nervous. But when he arrives at UA, he basically just arrives in basic student form. And this time Uraraka is the one that trips. Before he can catch herself, she realizes she's already at the door to UA, but sees Midoriya with his arm around her. And Midoriya's hair is still pretty long, but also, one thing to note, he looks a little bit older. Because when he's already 6'6", he's still 15. Still, he is now 15, but he's 6'6", looks pretty muscular, and it's kind of growing a mustache. It's not really obvious, but if you look close enough, you can see it. But now, for written exam, he gets 100%. Midoriya's the smartest student in Japan. Now, when he aces this exam, he aces it better than Momo or Todoroki or anyone. Really, intelligence is enough to get him into UA, but now, well, there's no quirk listed. All he insists he has one, but he can't describe it, and well, no one believes him. But they see a sword, and they say there's no reason that he should use a sword if he has a quirk then. But yeah. But back to not back to the second part now. Midoriya is basically just in a basic like tank top. Everyone noticed the scars, there's scars all over his body. Every single inch of it at least has one scar. His legs are covered in slash marks. His face doesn't have a single scar on it. Well, there's one scar going from like his collarbone all the way up to like the bottom of his eye, of his left eye. The rest of the body covered in slash marks, bruises. Well, not bruises, but they're off. Like he was off hit by something really hard. Basically, Mihawk, this is like Mihawk's hockey training to him. That's what this is. It's hockey training. Mihawk cutting a kendo sword in hockey, a wooden sword in hockey. He slashed Midoriya. And Midoriya didn't mind it at all. He got to slash on Mihawk when he was strong enough. But yeah. But yeah. Now Ida was about to just go to Midoriya because everyone was crowding around him, or at least staring at him. Ida thought he was distracted until he saw Midoriya's body, and well, he realized where everyone was looking. Midoriya looked horrifying, in all honesty. And Hanami did realize who it was. Well, shocked that Midoriya looked like this now. So Midoriya began twirling the giant blade, and before Mike would say, round starts in 3. The door suddenly kicked over, and Midoriya dashes in, clutching apart robots left and right. So Mike had yelled, "Immediately, 10 points to Midoriya. No, heroes don't wait for battle to start, they go." And then before Ida asked the question saying, "Wait, why?" Person Mike's like, people's lives don't have a timer. Ida immediately realized that was true, and tried to keep up with Midoriya, but he was simply too fast. But he could tell, this isn't a quirk. Because Midoriya is sweating. Ida doesn't really even sweat when he uses his quirk. Midoriya is just purely this fast. Till the 0 pointer arrives, Midoriya already has 400 points. But then they add up his rescue points. But we're not going to go over his rescue points yet. But now the 0 pointer. The pointer about to crush Araka. She's about to get crushed. Everyone realized the 0 pointer was flung. So Midoriya basically grabbed the 0 pointer by the bottom of his foot. Well, basically just put his hand on it, squeezed, making grip like a spot for him to grab. And he threw the 0 pointer basically almost halfway across Japan. Only had to jump in and basically just punch it into the ground. But realized that Midoriya threw it insanely far. He even uses up a lot of his power to jump that far. But yeah. Pause real quick. Counting Midoriya's rescue points, he has a grand total of 1,250. All Might realized that Midoriya basically topped the score because Midoriya focusing on rescuing and destroying. I realized that, but the Midoriya, if he didn't see a robot in sight, he'd save someone by basically blocking an attack that was going to hit them from a robot, or just pick them up, make them jump over a robot, and throw them at the robot, and they would use their attack, realizing the Midoriya was at a good angle. And if they landed, it would not hurt. He did the same thing with Ida, and Ida realized that this was good planning. He thought of it on the fly. Or at least Midoriya did. He did the same thing with Araka, and she got a lot more points. She got around 80 points. So at least because Midoriya's helping, everyone, including Aoyama, got at least 50 points. Hanami didn't need any help, and she strictly hid from Midoriya, because she heard about what we did to Bakugo. But she didn't really bully him, so she knew she was on good terms with Midoriya, but she wanted to hide from him for a good reason. She wanted to spectate. She recorded all the things Midoriya did, and by the time the exams ended, immediately, then Nezu felt the need to announce the highest score. This was a record-breaking one. So as they're all about to leave the arena, Nezu comes on the mic saying, "Everyone, we have a new record at UA High School, coming from arena, whatever. With a record, or not a record, but a score of 1,250 points." Everyone's mouths are agape, and Bakugo and Izumi weren't counting up their points. Izumi, by herself, had around 400, but she thought it was her. She didn't know the number of points she had. Bakugo had 200, Hanami had around 300, but when they're that number, they don't know that there's, Hanami kept track knowing it's not her. Izumi and Bakugo didn't keep track, but everyone in Midoriya's arena knew who it was. Ida and Araka are able to put together like the rescue points thing. He rescued people, and being part of heroes rescuing, not just instructions, there's probably rescue points. But they said, this comes from Reno whatever, with Izuku Midoriya. Well, everyone in All Might's family, like Izumi is known as Izumi Yagi, Inko Yagi, that's one of their names. So, Izuku Midoriya, he got 1,250. Now, Izumi already knew this. Bakugo and Izumi are like, what the hell are you talking about? It should be us. We got a lot of points. But they showed him clips, and they realized that, well, he's keeping track. He's throwing only 3-pointers, then being helping with 2-pointers. But then, with the 1-pointers, he did his thing. There's hundreds of 1-pointers. With the 0-pointer, he threw that thing like it was nothing. But Hanami ended up showing Bakugo and Izumi later some things that no one that the cameras didn't show. They were impressed. Thought it was badass. But now we go to just the first day at UA. Midoriya walks in with his blade in his back. And, well, by the way, Midoriya didn't use hockey. He can cut through anything, even without it. So he didn't need it. But Midoriya's blade, by the way, weighs over 300 pounds. But it's really fine-tuned. It's just that, well, the hilt is heavy. The regular sword part is actually pretty cool. But yeah, so Midoriya walks in class. Everyone's eyes are looking at him. And Midoriya's the first one. Well, not everyone, just Ida mainly. Midoriya's the second one in class. He's in the seat, and him and Ida began talking. And as we began talking, when Ida heard Midoriya's name, it was kind of widely known that Midoriya donated tens of millions of dollars to UA. So yeah, he's actually talked to Midoriya. They got along instantly. Then eventually everyone else poured in. Izumi and Bakugo poured in. And wait, pause real quick. Sorry. So yeah, so Midoriya and Ida get along pretty well. Hanami walks in. She talks to Midoriya because she actually would want to talk to him now. She just said he's pretty impressive at basically the entrance exam, and Midoriya would thank her. And he has no beef with her, so they get along pretty well. But Sato and Mineta are removed from Class 1A. Now I am removing Mineta because I don't like him. They were like probably the most expendable members of Class 1A. As we say, oh, Tori's pretty important. No, if you read the manga, she gained an important role recently. So also basically just Mineta hasn't really done anything important that comes to mind, and then Sato hasn't done anything important besides have that one moment with a certain moment in the war arc. So that one moment, it could be replaced with anyone. So yeah, those two are removed. So just so Hanami and Izumi can join Class 1A. Sato is moved to Class 1B. Mineta is moved to just like... Well, actually, Mineta is... Never mind, no he's not. So yeah, Sato is moved to 1B, and then Mineta is moved to whatever department they feel like it. But you know, he's moved to General Studies. That's where he's moved to. And I would also remove, let's say... I want to remove someone else. I'm going with Sero. Yeah, Sero is removed from Class 1A as well. And this leads to, well, Shinso. He joins. Now, Sero is put in Class 1B as well. But they're like, oh yeah, we had another student that should have come in. But you're kind of part of both classes. You're split classes now. Not split classes. Like ability-wise, you're for Class 1B, but intelligence-wise, you're Class 1A. So you can join in anytime you want. So that's I like Sero a lot, so he'll be split just so I like him. I feel some guy said lick, but yeah, because I like him. So Shinso is put in Sero's absence. Class 1A keeps the same numbers, but the power balance is completely shifted. Izumi has had one for all for years, but she doesn't have the experience as canonical Midoriya. Basically, she was just trained to use her super strength, and well, she didn't really discover full Cali until recently. Because she mainly trained it to fuse with her quirk, and well, it was kind of weird. But yeah, so everyone kind of has like the same kind of thing. Just well, they do introductions. Midoriya says his name is Izuku Midoriya, and he doesn't have a quirk, but he's a master swordsman. He's the best in the world. Denki thinks he's exaggerating, so Midoriya says he can cut through anything. He even cut through metal like scissors do paper. Immediately, Denki had thrown a board at him, saying, "Cut this!" Midoriya literally flicked it in half. And this shocked everyone. It was a very thick like whiteboard. One of those miniature whiteboards you get in school. Midoriya flicked it in half. And it was his first time doing it. Not his first time like flicking something in half, but it was his first time like flicking a whiteboard that like just didn't even go all out, just flicked it in half. And it shocked everyone, and Midoriya says that his hands are stronger than his blades. But his blade could have cut that to atomic levels pretty easily. Now they go outside and they do the whole test. So, with speed, Midori blitzes by Ida, as Midori get 1.1. And then starts at jumps, Midori gets the highest. Description, Midori gets the highest. Everyone expected this, to be honest, because he grips the sword like he's hanging on for dear life. Not hanging on for your life, but it's like his most important possession. He hangs on to it or squeezes it as hard as he can because he needs to. Well, because he wants to, actually, but yeah. But, yeah, I guess the next thing would be the ball throw. Well, Midori did that, got number 1 in the next exam, so he did that. And I was pretty impressed. He tried to cancel Midori's quirk, there's no quirk involved. He's just that strong. So he actually found that pretty impressive. And he reported that to Nezumi and All Might. So, yeah. So the ball's thrown, and Midori gets a total of 2,000 meters. Bakugo gets 800. Izumi tries to get... Well, she does beat Midoriya, but she doesn't know that Midori was using physical strength. He doesn't seem to have a quirk. He's not using that black stuff either. And she saw Aizawa just basically used his quirk. Midori still got a score almost equal to hers. She got 2,010. Midori got basically 2,000. She didn't think she was better than Midoriya. She knew she was worse. She needed a quirk to compete with him. And One For All cannot compete with Midoriya physically at all, whatsoever. But, yeah. So now, we go to just them going home. As Midori's walking home, him and Izumi are talking. And while they're talking, well, Midori's talking, saying, like, oh, yeah, you want to hang out at my place? It's pretty neat. I got some new stuff. As Midori and Izumi are actually good friends before he left, because they got along, they liked everything the same way, and they like that now. So yeah, now Izumi was about to say yes until Bakugo pulls her aside, saying that the mom wants him home now. He shows a text. She agrees, they go home, but she apologizes to Midori, but she doesn't give him her number. And Izumi gives Midori her number, and Bakugo does the same, just because, well, Midori is smart. So he goes home, Izumi created a group chat, just for all of them, but Midori immediately left. He keeps getting invited back. He doesn't want to block them because he doesn't know that either way he'll get an earful from someone. He doesn't want that. Kind of just lets it happen after like the 8th time he leaves. So yeah, now the next day is the Heroes vs. Villains test. Midoriya and Izumi are paired together. No, Izumi, I mean. Actually, no, it'd be interesting. So Midoriya hates Bakugo the most. No, he hates All Might the most, but the most he hates in class would be Bakugo. He's paired with Bakugo, and they just fight Izumi and Hanami. So yeah, now immediately Midori just says he can cut the building to pieces in seconds and save the girls and the Bakugo. The Bakugo can get the bomb. Bakugo can save the girls, he can get the bomb pretty easily. Bakugo doesn't believe it, and this one he's not hesitant, but well, actually no, 3 of them know how strong Midoriya's sword skills are, or 4, counting All Might. So Hanami, well, I count. Actually, no, a lot of them do. Aoyama, Ida, Ochako, All Might, and Kirishima might have been in Midoriya's arena or Bakugo's arena, I don't know, but it's like Kirishima was in Midoriya, so like 5 or 6 of them know how strong Midoriya's swordsmanship is. So Midori take a step back, and immediately, yeah, his hero suit, by the way. His hero suit was quite literally just this. That's really it. But the difference is it's fireproof. That's really it. It's fireproof. But yeah. Also, it's not like stab proof, but it's like a really thick coat. Like it'd be hard to like stab through it pretty easily unless you use a really good knife. But I'm back to this. So inside Midori's coat, I mean, like it's covered in different kind of knives. There's just pockets that store knives, and they're kind of labeled for Midoriya. One of them is a CO2 shark hunting knife. Like you stab it and inject CO2, and it goes poof. One of them kind of like an extendable harpoon, like the edge of harpoon, like kind of a baton-sized harpoon, but then you just swing out the back of it, and the harpoon gets longer. And yeah, Midori just has a bunch of random things. And across around his neck, he has that. It's not really a cross, more like just a blade, and he pulls it out, and then just a regular sword. But yeah, well, not a regular sword, like a pocket knife. Yeah, so Midori steps back, walks in the building, and Bakugo's like smirk wanting to see this. It's in the building. Suddenly, in a flash of Midori's waves his arm multiple times, and blinking an eye, the building comes apart. Bakugo, seeing Izumi and Hanami falling, shoots toward them and grabs them. Suddenly, they're already gone, and the bomb is being touched. Midori decides, saying, "You're so slow." And Midori kicked away all the rubble onto the base of the pavement in a pile. He was that fast. I only can even take away points for that. The building was cut into pieces, but they're huge, basically. They're cut. Like Midori was so precise with the observation hockey. So yeah, he was just really good with it. Like, amazing. But yeah, he landed, puts down the girls, and puts on the bomb, saying he wins. All he does deduct like 1 point for property damage, but otherwise Midori got MVP. Hanami and Izumi were in the middle of preparing, but they interrupted, so they don't get any points. Same with Bakugo, he didn't do anything. So Midori got all the points. So he's able to take down villains with no harm. He'll save the bomb without setting it off in any way. Was able to basically do it in seconds. He wins. Only point deduction has his property damage. So yeah, now everyone else has their turn. Chaco and Shinso versus Ida and Ojiro. This kind of leads to just Ojiro being defeated pretty easily by Shinso, and Ida being defeated by Ochako, because Yoki goes to like grab her, but Shinso's able to like just yell using his voice changer, or yell at him saying, like changing Ojiro's voice. He turns around basically Shinso did his thing, like turned on his voice changer and basically made it sound like Ojiro. Ojiro's like, watch out! Ida turns around, but Ochako makes him float, and then kind of ties up his leg. So yeah, they win. So yeah, Shinso is an MVP of that round because he's able to trick Ojiro and Ida. But they don't know his quirk, so it's kind of fair. But yeah. So I guess the next important thing would be USJ. Now 1A is not overflowing at this point because Sarah wanted to come with 1A. But yeah. So now we have just USJ. Everyone would want to discuss Midoriya's quirk, even Hanami and Izumi, but Midoriya just has his hat on over his face and sleeps. Shinso just sighs, saying, respect Midoriya. He lays his head back and covers his face with bandages and sleeps. Everyone's like, these two are lazy as hell, yet they're just the smartest. Hiroki just looks at them, saying, no, he wants nothing to do with weaklings. Midoriya tips his hat up a bit to look at Todoroki, saying, stop defending me, I don't want anything to do with weaklings. Everyone be looking at Todoroki. Todoroki looks offended, but Midoriya puts his hat back down, because basically Midoriya just said, I don't want anything to do with weaklings, because I was stop defending me. And that was basically him calling Todoroki a weakling. Or weakling. Izumi chuckled and punching Midoriya in the arm lightly, when she's punched in the arm a lot harder, and it was not by Midoriya, it's by Shinso. Shinso's worried about Midoriya, and Shinso says, leave him alone, he's just a guy who wants to sleep. And Midoriya looked at Shinso, saying, he's probably the only one that isn't weak in this class. If you don't know him, if you don't know his quirk, then he's probably the strongest one here. Now, no one knows his quirk besides, Todoroki and Momo were able to put together. So it was Bakugo and Izumi and Hanami, and then Midoriya. So Bakugo, Hanami, Izumi, Midoriya, Ida, and Ojiro. So 7 people out of the 21 in 1A. That's a small number compared to the bigger one. Well, and Aizawa, so Aizawa and All Might. The teachers don't count, actually, so it doesn't matter. But now they get to USJ, and Midoriya's just kind of sitting down, flying on his phone. 13 and Aizawa tries to take it, but Aizawa uses bandages to try to grab it, but Aizawa can't pry it out of Midoriya's hands. Even 13 is trying to pull, and it can't come out of his hands. But 13 knows Midoriya's phone, he picks her up, and then throws it down the stairs, turning off his phone. It's an important video. Aizawa tries to keep some Midoriya's quirk, forgetting that it's not super strength, and it doesn't work. He's like, God damn it! And then speaks about Midoriya, and this is what Midoriya says. Then I'll withdraw all my funds I put in the school. Aizawa just sighs, saying, God damn it. And the Midoriya just chuckles, saying, don't worry, I'm a nice guy. He puts down 13, and turns his phone back on. Suddenly the villains arrive, and as they're all out, Shiraki in like mid-monologue, suddenly all the villains around are sent flying, then Midoriya straight in front of him with his fists drawn. All the villains fall to the ground throwing up, and they all have giant fist imprints on their stomach. And Shiraki's kind of been monologuing really fast, but he looks around and seeing every single arena has a gigantic slash mark across it. Well, no one really saw Midoriya move that fast. His observation hockey gives him tips on how to move a lot faster, or at least he gets tips from it. Basically just lots of Geppo slashing on the ground. Like he used Geppo slash, Geppo slash, Geppo slash. Eventually with the villains, and it just came to just a gigantic Soru technique, and boom. But now Nomu steps in front of Midoriya, and Nomu goes for a punch. Number sent flying into the atmosphere. Everyone sees Midoriya's fist drawn with his arm covered in black substance. And when Nomu comes flying back down, he cuts to pieces, to the point where he can't even regenerate. The Midoriya was Shiraki in the eyes from the air, and about to stab him in the face. But Aizawa will try to cancel the haki, but it doesn't work. When Midoriya suddenly slashes down, cutting Shiraki's face pretty badly. Shiraki backs down, but Kurogyu will actually teleport Midoriya away, because he's too fast. But yeah, so maybe Shiraki's like, go on, go. And then he teleported away. Everyone realizes that Midoriya is just simply that guy. Bakugo just sighs and falls to his knees, saying, villains are right there and we couldn't do a damn thing. Izumi's like, don't worry, my brothers are just reckless. So I didn't analyze the situation. When Midoriya walked up the stairs saying 200 villains that way, 100 this way, 15 that way, 20 that way. Analyzed every single thing, took them down just right amount of time, and none of you could even blink before I did it all. You're slow. And I'm very precise, Izumi. Walked outside, decided with his hands in his pocket, with one hand in his pocket, playing on his phone, on the other hand, and he was arrived, wrestled the villains, innocent Tartarus, and Midoriya given a medal. But Midoriya throws the ground, plays on his phone again. Midoriya's guilty pleasure is being a phone addict. Well, he was on an island without technology for years. Smartphones are a thing of the future to him. So yeah, can't really blame the guy. When he left, he wasn't even old enough to own a phone, but now he's back and he didn't have a phone for the first 2 years of him coming back to Japan. This is his first year having a smartphone. So yeah. Now one of the days for the break because of USJ, they had a 2-day break, I believe. One of those days, Izumi, Bakugo, and Hanami come over, and All Might and Inko join them. But they realize that Midoriya lives in a house nicer than theirs. Bakugo's house is pretty nice, but basically, Izumi and All Might and Inko live in a mansion. Bakugo and Hanami and Mitsuki and Masaru, they live in a modern style house. Midoriya lives in a goddamn castle. So yeah. While they walk inside, they realize it's just kind of stuffed with sword material. There's hundreds of swords on each wall. There's a blank wall, which there's a few of them. Midoriya can turn to each room like a secret room. Sometimes each room just fill it up with cement or something. I don't really want anything there, or at least extra ventilation, something that isn't a bedroom or spare room, something. So yeah, some closets are filled with swords. Midoriya basically owns one of every single sword he could find online or in person. So his house is filled with tens of hundreds of millions of blades. And pause real quick. So Midoriya owns millions of blades, maybe even billions, but he owns a lot of places in Japan. So he can store blades wherever he pleases. So yeah. Eventually Midoriya is designing a whole new suit for himself because he has money to do that. But Hatsume, well, basically the whole engineering club at UA, well, Midoriya kind of bought them their own company to build stuff in. Hatsume appreciated it, and Hatsume now has a big crush on Midoriya. He hasn't redesigning his suit the same way as this one, but basically stab-proof, fire-proof, bulletproof, you name it, it's there. Not bulletproof or stab-proof, but the fabric is so thick, it'd be pretty impressive to penetrate the suit. But he has a muscle suit on the outside that actually is bulletproof, there's a fabric that's actually that thick, but also his haki could stop it as well. But then he has goggles, or at least glasses that are, how to say it? Kind of like Nanami's glasses, basically. But they're more just These basic sunglasses will do, but they're really thick. Gojo levels of blindfold, it's basically pitch black. You can't see a thing through them, but he wears them because that's his observation haki. In case it's not as strong as he thought it was. But yeah. And then the muscle shirt underneath, that shirt's pretty cool. He kind of just wears basic high tops. Doesn't really wear any boots or sandals or anything, just high tops. He wears these fancy pants, this really weird jacket, this feathered hat, this sword necklace, this giant blade on his back. But his shoes are the most modern thing about him. High tops. Just red high tops. Or black high tops, I mean. Basically just black Air Forces, but they're high tops. That's kind of what he wears. Plus the inside of his jacket is full of blades. But yeah, so eventually it'd go to like the sports festival. So Midoriya just proceeds to go to the sports festival, but Midoriya's giving a speech. One of them thinks Midoriya's being arrogant, but Zero just says, well, he has a right to be arrogant. Zero explains everything to Monoma, and Monoma can't help but be, well, bamboozled. Well, not bamboozled, but shocked. Midoriya's donated over $50 million to UA. He's got the highest score for the sports following for the entrance exam and intelligence and strength, plus the most rescue points and destruction points. Midoriya basically has done everything that UA has as a record. Midoriya had the most donations, the highest score, everything. So he's kind of like the ideal student, plus a little bit extra with the money. So yeah, so Mom can't really complain or say anything bad about Midoriya. He has a right to be this arrogant. Well, not really arrogant, it's just factual. So yeah, now the first exam, just the race. Well, everyone already knows who's gonna win, but Shigaraki, I mean. Todoroki tries to like freeze Midoriya in place, like only Midoriya. Well, so someone says go. Midoriya blitz was already almost to the minefield. He's that fast. He just blitzed. Just. So yeah, he's faster than your second Luffy. Eventually Midoriya jumps, landing on a mine, and he shot forward. While Bakugo shot forward as fast as he could, and is flying basically. So yeah, and basically Izumi kind of just, or well, how do I say this? I don't know. I don't know. I can say her quirk is. So that's like Izumi's quirk is basically landmine. You can touch anything, and then when she touches it, it explodes. So she ran all the way to the mines and touched it and got sent flying, and she got 4th place. Bakugo's number 2, Izumi's number 3, Hanami's number 4. But yeah, now heroes have all have their eyes on Midoriya because they've heard what he's done. Gradually knows the sex Midoriya being the one for all. Till All Might actually confirms that it is Izumi, not Midoriya. Says that Midoriya is basically his failed son. Now that immediately makes Ranchino pissed off with Toshinori and blocks him on every single form that he could. But it's something he'd have to train Izumi. So yeah. But now, once Midoriya is at the once he's at the finish line, then now comes the source to the second round, and Midoriya would be able to assess what would be the most necessary group. He grabs Ibara, he grabs Shoji, he grabs Sato, and Zero. That's his team. Shino. So he grabbed Mineta, Shiozaki, Asui, and Shoji. Those are the 4 he grabs. But so Mineta, if he's being a perv, he'll kill him. Yeah, so there's kind of there's a pretty big height difference, but they kind of hide Mineta. So yeah, but Shiozaki is basically the rider. That already shows you the horses. Mineta is hidden in Shiozaki's vines, and yeah. But Mineta cannot do a thing. Midoriya's watching him. So yeah, now Midoriya's team wins because Shiozaki instinctively still headbands or just slap people with thorny vines. Then if people are running Midoriya, Mineta can come out of nowhere and throw a ball down and stick them in place, and Shiozaki showed you Midoriya steps and snag their headband. Now with that, All Might was me like, God damn it, this kid's a genius. He's very pissed off. Everyone on his team had some sort of distance-related help. So yeah, like Shiozaki was sneaky, Shoji was kind of the obvious and distraction. Then Mineta was just out of nowhere. They couldn't find him. Thought he was cheating until they realized that Shiozaki was just hiding Mineta. And well, Mineta kind of had to ride up there with Shiozaki. Midoriya and Shoji are both giants, and Mineta couldn't even reach Shiozaki, so there's no other choice. So they kind of got a warning, but it was good. But now the first fight is not Midoriya versus Shinso, but Midoriya versus Neta. But Midoriya doesn't use a sword in this one. He says he can do it all physically. So I kind of think Midoriya relies on the sword. So he threw a ball at Midoriya. Suddenly, Midoriya blitzes right above him and kicking him into the ground as hard as he could. Well, not as hard as he could, but kicks him right into the ground and it knocks him out. And then it's Midoriya's final fight because he makes it all the way to the finals. Well, we're gonna go to fight against Todoroki, I'd say. Todoroki says Midoriya would need a sword, but Midoriya denies that completely. But Todoroki just tons of ice at Midoriya. Midoriya just holds his foot out, putting it in hockey, and as putting the tip of his shoe in hockey. Suddenly all the ice is suddenly shattering over and over and over and over. So Todoroki begins trying to use flames. But Midoriya evades them. And Todoroki's kind of tired to get the crap kicked out of him, so he begins combining his ice and fire. Now Shiraki's watching, and All For One is also watching in his own way, kinda. I don't know. All For One's kind of getting everything from Dr. Ujiko, let's say that. And All For One's like, this is pretty impressive. Shiraki and All For One, Ujiko, and everyone that's a villain, and no Shiraki, they're able to tell. Even if Shiraki were to get All For One, he does not stand a chance. He's not physically adept like Midoriya. And reportedly, he's stronger with the sword, or so they think. In reality, no, he's not stronger with his blade. Midoriya learned how to use a sword, well, not a sword, but learned how to use his hand as a sword, so it's a substitute. So, he basically equal power no matter what he has. With both he is as strong as conquerors, he doesn't like using. So yeah, but Midoriya appears right behind Todoroki as he uses the gigantic ice and fire barrage. Suddenly, Todoroki's hit back the neck with a chop and knocked out. Endeavor places his attention looking for a single scratch on Midoriya. Nothing. Just dust. That is it. No, Endeavor begins yelling, saying that Midoriya must have cheated, he couldn't be that fast without a quirk. But Zawa responds saying, no, he is quirkless. I've tried using my quirk on him multiple times. He is truly quirkless, but trained his body to the peak of human evolution. Not evolution, but just the peak of humanity. He's just that strong. Endeavor refuses to accept that, but it's true. Pause real quick. But, yeah. So, Midoriya ends up, let's say, the final fight, I'd assume probably him versus Izumi. Izumi would actually try to use telekinesis on Midoriya, try to throw him out of bounds, but the moment Midoriya gets close enough to out of bounds, his hand actually, he's then flying and grabs onto the ground as hard as he could. As he does this, he digs his fingernails into it, and Izumi cannot make him touch the ground. His body is just sheer physical strength is rebelling against Izumi's telekinesis. But suddenly Midoriya digs his fingers deep in the ground, and twists. The whole other half of Izumi's, not the whole other half, the whole ring basically just shifts. And what it does, basically, Midoriya snaps his half off, and that half smacks Izumi's, making her go off balance, and she falls with one arm going out of bounds. Midoriya was barely able to get to balance, and then when Yukon-Kosaki could knock out the crowd. It could knock out the crowd, I mean. Midoriya pulls himself up, and pants, saying that's probably the hardest thing he's had to do in a few years. And it was, actually, so he's pretty impressed with Izumi. So it was very hard for him to do that, but it worked. But now, with that, Midoriya wins, it's number 1. And we go to the next day at school, the next day or two, and they have to decide their hero names, and they get the votes they got. So, number of votes Midoriya got would be basically every single hero that was watching wanted Midoriya. He was arrogant, but had the right to be arrogant. He had a lot of money. He had everything they were looking for. But one interesting thing, Endeavor and Mirko wanted Midoriya. They don't really want anyone to say unless Endeavor doesn't want anyone that's firepower or explosion related. Mirko doesn't really want anyone because she works alone. This was impressive for everyone. But most importantly, Midoriya had a request to be on anyone's team from rank number 2 and up. But Midoriya just says that he'll go with anyone, saying that Aizawa can choose for him. But one thing I saw I just said then, it said that then you'll be going with me. This one, as I was like, so it wouldn't be fair because I'd choose you. I choose you to go with me. So how about someone else chooses? So All Might would walk in holding a paper to Izumi, but this one Midori makes All Might choose who he goes with. All Might chooses Sir Night Eye because Midori and Sir Night Eye are kind of similar, and I guess no, not really. Midori is pretty quiet, but he's arrogant. Sir Night Eye is just Sir Night Eye. But yeah, so Midori ends up joining Sir Night Eye's agency. Did I get a message? No, I didn't. But yeah. So I guess we'd have how to say it. I guess just Midori going to Sir Night Eye's agency. And Midori did add on to more to Shirasu being two separate swords. But they're both equally as well. They're like wide katanas, really, like just really wide katanas, or like they're just wide katanas, really. That's really it. So now Midori ends up going over to Night agency. Night does the whole make me laugh thing. And Midori memorized a few books on jokes before he got there, because he did like research on Night Eye, and one of his sidekicks had, let's say, like moved away. He just because of work reasons, he wanted to find a better job that wasn't here related. So it's like, oh yeah, he's very very big on laughter or emotion. So Midori memorized 3 joke books, and he told the funniest jokes he could think of, because these books even made him show emotion that wasn't arrogance or confidence or sadness. So yeah. So yeah. Now, once Midori would actually tell a few jokes, Sir Night was like, all right, Lloyd, one last joke. If you can't make me laugh, you're out the door. The Midori told the joke, and Sir Night died laughing. I think I just said Tsunade. Sir Night was laughing so hard he was crying. And his sides hurt, he couldn't help it. Now, Mirio, Bubble Girl, Centipede, they walked in, they're shocked. Sir Night just on the ground holding his sides, laughing. He can wiped the tears from his eyes, and the ones that were running to the cheek. He said, "All right, you're in. Most definitely, you can have a job here if you want." Oh God, that was funny. So Midori just nods, grabbing the stamp, snapping his name, saying, "All right, then I'm in." So yeah. So eventually we'd have just let's say just like running fast forward like a week or two until we have the attack on Japan. So over on Hosu mainly. So Midori did hear about Ida's brother and was she keeping tabs on Ida. Whenever they went on patrol, well then Midori kind of told Mirio like one of his friends is out maybe out for vengeance against a certain someone. He told the whole situation about Ida to Mirio. Told Mirio he needs to watch Ida. And Mirio would patrol for him a few minutes and then call Midoriya. And then the Midoriya reveals he's watching Ida. So Mirio's like, alright, cool. Now with Hosu, Nada gives commands from Midoriya and Mirio to go stop it. Like, he's like, you two are so strong. So stop the attack on your own. Just do it. Some heroes are struggling, some heroes aren't. Just stop the attack on your own. Midoriya and Mirio nod as Bogirl and Son Peter follow suit. And Nada did read Midoriya's future. He doesn't take one loss, even in his life. It was the future. Not a single loss was in Midoriya's future. So, Nada is impressed. And he had read Mirio's future before. Mirio originally was supposed to get shot by a Quirk destroying bullet. Well, he read it again. Midoriya saved it. Midoriya was future defying. It's just him being alive shifted the balance for heroes. But yeah. Now eventually, Midoriya goes to Hosu, finds Ida because he didn't see Ida with Manual. But sees Ida about to be stabbed by Stain. As Stain's blade about to reach Ida's head, suddenly a bigger blade stops it. Stain looks at Midoriya and freezes. Now Stain has seen basically due to Midoriya being so rich, there's all the studies on him. And basically, Midoriya claimed himself on video as the best swordsman in the world. No one believed it, but saying I've seen clips of Midoriya being so fast and so strong with swords that he's impressive. Like, he's very impressive. Now with this, Shane kind of gets nervous because Midoriya is obviously faster, stronger, better, smarter. He doesn't know what to do. So he just tries to trick Midoriya, but Midoriya is basically able to block every single attack, not bleeding once, or sweating, or panting, nothing. He's not even out of breath. So eventually Midoriya ends up just like grabbing Sane's sword and snapping it in half like it was nothing. She no, he wouldn't do that. He's on her. He kind of grabs Sane's blade and examines it, saying, the sword seems old. Sane keeps trying to attack Midoriya, but Midoriya pushes him away and keeps examining his swords. Eventually, Sane is pinned against the wall and tied up using his own scarf. And this one Midoriya looks at Sane's preferred katana. And this one Midoriya immediately pulls out something out of his pouch. Well, it was like kind of just inside his jacket. Pulls something out, and it was kind of like a sword sharpener. And he also does a few stuff to maintain swords. He's using that same sword, and Sane realizes how the sword is basically being really refined. So Sane's like, wait, why are you doing this? Why? Give me a reason. And then someone Midoriya just explains to him, your sword is good, it's just, it wasn't taken care of over the years as well as it should have been. So he puts the sword back down, and knocks out Stain. Midoriya basically took down a few Nomus, until suddenly all of Japan could feel this, all of Hosu could feel this, everyone in Hosu could feel this insane presence coming over them. So Stain is thrown in the police station, and then, Midoriya's assault begins. Nomus left and right. The ones that are hard to be killed are sliced to pieces like it was nothing. Flying Nomu, cut in pieces like mincemeat. Shiraki didn't know it's too risky to stay outside and watch, because Midoriya, Semikro Giri, so they didn't really want to stand around and watch. Yeah, so eventually everything is solved by Midoriya. But, yeah, so with that solved, Hosu incident ends in that one night with barely any property damage happening. So, yeah. But, pause real quick. So, yeah, so the ends Hosu, and now we'd have the heroes, the students versus teachers thing, for like their test. Written one, Midoriya does the best overall. He's the smartest student in the country. And then, he's one of the smartest students in the world, technically. So, yeah. Now with this, Midoriya kind of proceeds to just, his opponent is really actually just of the strongest students in UA and All Might. Those are his opponents. Because he is simply just that guy. So yeah, Big Three, Izumi, and All Might. Those are his opponents. But Midoriya, like before the fight started, was getting a battle plan with them, saying, alright, so Midoriya is someone that we cannot take lightly. We need a battle plan. We cannot just rush in there. Now, Nature and Amajiki are being overconfident, like, why? He's a student. He can't be this strong. But Midoriya's like, no, I have fought him. He beat the living hell out of me. This is different. So they're kind of like, oh, so we need to take this seriously if he's hit you over and over. Midoriya nod, and All Might already knows he needs to take Midoriya seriously. But before the fight starts, Midoriya took off all his hero gear, except for his shoes and his pants. His pants don't do anything special, they're just fireproof. That's really it. And shat-proof. Yeah, so he even took off. He killed him just wearing shirt, wearing pants, and shoes. No shirt, nothing else. So yeah, now, All Might isn't even wearing something to restrict his power. Midoriya is. Well, they don't work. They're just thousands of pounds, but that doesn't stop Midoriya. He's lifted heavier. Yeah, so the heroes and other students in front of him, and All Might dash at Midoriya. Midoriya and All Might collide fists, and All Might's arm is broken. All Might is yelling in pain as he's kicked through a building. Izumi tries to use telekinesis, but Midoriya learned basically just move faster than she can see. He did that pretty easily, kicking her in the neck, just really swiftly, not hard, and knocked her out. Majiki immediately wins his crab chimera form, but he's punched, the crab shell's punched, he punches Majiki in the face, the crab shell's shattered, and he's knocked out. Then Nature tries firing blast energy, but Midoriya's too fast for them to hit him. So eventually, what Midoriya does, when Midoriya lands in the building, basically just close half his body in armor hockey, and run through like one half the building. You guys basically just take out like one side of it that was supporting, and eventually at least half the building falling. And while Nature is trying to keep herself up by flying or floating, Midoriya jumps up and grabs her and basically just suplexes her. She's the roof of another building. She's kind of like just passed out, and there's Mirio. Mirio got a lot stronger, but he's still too slow for Midoriya. Eventually, he's close for 1 second, and he's punched right in the temple. Not hard, but just very swiftly punched in the temple, and it knocks him out. So everyone's shocked as Midoriya is announced as the winner. So yeah, he's the winner. And that fight ended in 2 minutes. So yeah, 2 minutes total. So yeah, now the Hideout Raid's next arc. No, not Hideout Raid. I mean the Force Training arc. So Midoriya's in the Force Training arc. He's chilling, and with this, eventually he's just like doesn't train whatsoever. He does like his occasional workout. That's really it. But everyone else did workouts extreme. Even to Tiger, Aizawa, everyone is extreme. Basically, just kicks some of the trees off their roots, or even the roots out of the ground. Puts them on his back, tied up, and basically just does push-ups with hundreds of pounds on his back. Well, hundreds, thousands of pounds on his back. So yeah, does the handstands and walks. He's just doing the most. They even found he's insanely flexible. But he took a particular interest in a few people, being Kirishima, Ida, Hanami, Shoji, and Shinso. Now, Shinso may just be a quiet guy, not really too interested in much, but, well, he's a small secret. Well, he has conqueror's hockey. He has the spirit of a leader, not a follower. He doesn't want to be one, but when it comes to someone as strong as Midoriya, doesn't have a choice. So, Midoriya pointed out in Kirishima and Shinso, they have conquerors. So there's All for One and Shiraki. If they don't know, well, All for One does. But Shiraki doesn't know. So yeah, but Midoriya just teaches this particular group hockey. So this time, doesn't let anyone spectate their training, and does so with Tokoyami, because he's the only one that has a direct place to train. But Midoriya basically puts a gigantic boulder in front of the training area, so they're kind of locked in the cave till Midoriya wants to free them. But they come out after every few hours, just for food, water, something. But by the time the villains attack, they all have a slight grasp on observation. They're not too good with it, but they're okay. But yeah, now with Koda. So they all make their food. Midoriya is basically as good as a professional chef. He had to make his own food from a Mihawk. All Mihawk did was go fishing, cook fish, or cook random animals around his island. So yeah. But eventually they go to so Midoriya would go to Koda, give him food. Muscular would attack. Muscular jumps at Midoriya when suddenly he's grabbed by the wrist, and he's in so much pain he goes to his knees, immediately screaming in pain. Dabi didn't start his attack yet, but was just watching as Muscular was being out-muscled. He realized this was Midoriya, and Shiraki's whole thing was avoid too strong. Now, Muscular didn't realize what it was, so the closer to the face, when he's kneed right in his face and knocked out. Now, immediately, this leads to Dabi making an announcement saying Muscular's been taken out. They all kind of scoff, saying he's weak anyway, but that's when he says, by Izuku Midoriya. Now, they all thought, the first thing they heard the Muscular was down, they thought, students keep getting up on him. But no, one guy took Muscular down seconds into their attack. This was different. So, Midoriya is able to find Dabi using observation hockey, and he went to Dabi. Dabi's clone, or twice his clone of Dabi, still attacks Aizawa, but Aizawa takes him down. Aizawa got a bit stronger, trying to keep up with Midoriya in some degree. He did okay at trying. At trying, not did. But, yeah. So, eventually, Midoriya ends up going over to, who was it? I think that, he goes over to Dabi, kicks him in the face, and didn't do as hard as he could, because if he does that, he'll kill him. But kicks him right in the chin, decent amount, breaking his jaw and knocking him out. Then with Mustard, well, Sero, Tetsu, and Kendo. Sero was basically able to tape his mouth and nose. He had a certain limit till that was gone, but did the same thing with those two. Gas mask can be knocked off. The tape was going to be very hard to take off, but they had at least 10 minutes tops before it began getting harder to breathe. So they listened to him and they began attacking Mustard. Kendo slapping him in the air. Tetsu basically elbow dropping him, Sero kicking him in the face and taping up and throwing him around like a rag doll. Eventually, Mustard's down. Then Twice has to fight Aizawa. Aizawa has to avoid Twice's tape because it can cut him, and it's kind of slashing at his bandages slowly. But eventually this leads to basically just, at least Midoriya finding Twice and punching him in the chest, knocking him out and breaking a few ribs. But Midoriya had put Kota in front of Aizawa. Aizawa took Kota in. But now with the whole situation with Magna, Spinner, and versus the other teachers, and Ida and everyone else. But Ida and Ida no Chaco, just Ida. He's the main one there that trained with Midoriya. We look Magna and Spinner down, and got a stance, and he says he can do this himself. So Midoriya knows a variety of martial arts. So, pretty sure at the beginning he runs a few sword dojos, but regular dojos at the same time. I'm pretty sure I just said sword dojos, but he runs a few regular dojos at the same time. So, yeah. Midoriya specializes in karate, Kyokushin karate, taekwondo, and capoeira. Ida is a capoeira guy if you couldn't tell. His legs. Boom. The Spinner thinks Ida is kind of bullshitting, so he goes slash at Ida. Some of these swords are all kicked, basically this giant blade of swords, kicked right in half. And then, quickly, he's kicked right in the face and sent flying to a tree. And then, with Magna, she attacks Ida, but she tries to use her quirk. Ida was too fast and broke both of her legs. Simple kick. Like one kick hit her leg, the shockwave broke her other leg. Fell to her knees, holding her legs, and was crying. And then we'd have Tokoyami, who actually was able to get control over gigantic darkness like Dark Shadow. He's able to get control over that, so not like full control, but some control. So yeah, Todoroki and Bakugo versus Moonfish. Bakugo dropped Moonfish by himself, but well, there are two Moonfish because of Twice. Todoroki just sent like a very fast flicker of flame right through the Moonfish's head. Didn't think it'd kill him, but it did because it was a clone. Todoroki was testing out a new move, basically just, what was it? What's the move? Basically called it just like flaming dagger. It was just very quick, concentrated bit of flame sent through someone's head or into their head, or at their head, but not in. He didn't expect it to go through his head, and it wouldn't have killed the regular Moonfish, but it would have burned him. But since it was basically just like a muddy clone, it killed it. Then with Mr. Compress and with Human after Bakugo. But to the Todoroki's intense training with Endeavor, just the tons of flames shot right at Mr. Compress. But as soon as Mr. Compress tried to like get Bakugo, he's elbow dropped out of midair by Shoji. Now immediately Tokoyami needed to be knocked out, or else Dark Shadow would go out of control, and well, Midori knocked him out because he appeared right behind Tokoyami, knocked him back to the neck. And well, none of the League of Villains or Vanguard Squad were able to escape. Chaco had basically learned the same martial art from Gunhead, Cheating, and Cannon, but also had Kyokushin karate. So Chaco got her ass handed to her pretty easily. She didn't get anyone's blood and just got her face pretty messed up. She didn't love Chaco, she hated her. Chaco got the shit punched out of her face like it was nothing. Like just punch. Kick, occasional knee. Like it was abuse. Yeah, so Kuro gears to find every single member and take them. They're all rescued. Mustard, Muscular, and Mr. Compressed, they're in the worst condition. Same with Dabi. Well, Dabi isn't the worst, but Mustard was punched around by some guy made of steel, some girl with giant hands, and some guy that uses tape as a weapon. Dabi had his jaw broken. Muscular was basically just punched right in the face full force by Midoriya. Pretty sure he was. Mr. Chris was elbow dropped 100 feet above the air, basically. Like, he was flying, got elbow dropped by some giant kid with octopus arms. Yeah, it wasn't good for anyone. Yeah, Izuku didn't really do too much alongside Hanami. They didn't do much. But, yeah, they were kind of just making sure everyone was safe. Like, let's say they're fighting the Nomu and they beat that Nomu. But Momo still did get a tracker on it, though. But, we go to just the Hideout raid now. No one's in the hospital because, it took down a lot of guys himself. It didn't really need much hospital attention. But Momo had a few bruises and a concussion. She was the worst one injured. She was smacked right into a tree by a Nomu. So, yeah. Now, eventually we'd have just them going with the raid. So, Momo trusts Midoriya enough that she'd give him the tracker, or another tracker. And as Midoriya was leaving, Bakugo, Hanami, and Hanami want to come with him. But Midoriya does say Hanami can go, does not Bakugo. But he does take his regular squad that didn't canon. So, yeah. Well, she not Bakugo, though. Well, Bakugo wasn't there in canon. Never mind. But yeah, he takes the same squad he did in canon. But plus his hockey squad that he trained. He kept training them. Shoji on the hockey team with Ida. But now we go to while they're waiting at the hideout. And Midoriya developed a stealth suit. And the stealth suit basically came with a mask, and the glasses were still there, but they're able to basically be night goggle glasses, you would say. But pause real quick. Alright, so the heroes still do attack, but Midoriya did find Ragdoll because she was kidnapped by Kurogiri. But Midoriya finds Ragdoll. All Might still has to fight All For One for a bit. But what Midoriya does basically, once all the Nomus are set free, suddenly all of them are cut to pieces. Every hero would see Midoriya, and Best Genius was saved by something, but no one saw it, except for All For One, because he's the one with only villain with all three types of hockey. But yeah, so he saw how Best Genius was saved, but barely. But he didn't know it was a better hockey user than him. He knew that. But yeah, so he kind of began handing All Might his ass, really. Eventually, All Might turned into a semi full power form, Small Might, but using Big Might's power. That's kind of what it was. Small Might / All Might, that kind of form. But that All For One hands that All Might his ass, and All For One isn't damaged whatsoever. And high and Nomu are beginning to be released, and nothing's going well. Until Midoriya decided to step in after evacuating everyone with his squad. Well, basically, not Midoriya, he kind of just watches it actually. It's his hockey squad. They've been attacking All For One, and they were able to break a few bones in his body, but, they're not. He's one of the better users at hockey, so. They're able to hit him a few times and not break any bones, but he's able to beat them up. Better than All Might did, even. But, yeah. But one swift movement from Midoriya, and All For One is basically knocked out. A very swift overhand hook. Pretty sure that was the name of the move. Basically, just punch All For One right in the forehead with using his arm overhand, and then with the hockey on his fist, just boom. Another shockwave knocked his ass out cold. So yeah, that power was just uncanny. So now, with this, All For One to put in Tartarus, can't really escape, and Midoriya's able to help him contain it, put him underground, and then drop food down for him occasionally. So yeah. But I guess that's really it, so to say. Pause real quick. So yeah. Now with this, Midoriya is actually kind of I might be able to pull a few strings behind the scene, the government, to get Midoriya expelled. Well, being a vigilante was pretty illegal, so they expelled Midoriya. And with that, Midoriya withdrew every single fund he put into UA. So it was a lot harder for UA to keep all the stuff that Midoriya gave them on. Hockey Squad was suspended, but they were able to go back into UA. But now, well, Midoriya didn't necessarily need to be here to be working for Night Eye. So Night Eye will send Midoriya on like night ops missions. Like, oh yeah, this guy he mainly works in shadows or not really on any other hero's list. Watch him at night or take him down at night, whatever you prefer. And Midoriya does just that. Now this would be the provisional license exams. All of 1A passes, and Sarah's put back in 1A. So because there's a spot opened up and he's put back in 1A. And then I guess the next important arc would be Shigai Saikai, but that arc wouldn't really be important because Midoriya's the one that attacks. He talks to them with Mirio, Peter, and Bubble Girl for a few weeks, along with Night Eye occasionally, if he's not doing paperwork. And they're able to figure out how to get in there. Well, Midoriya's not getting at night and was able to find basically make a secret way for them to get in. They do that the next day. And, well, every single member of Shigai Saikai that would give Night Eye trouble. Mirio, Bubble Girl, Peter, and Midoriya took down every single member of Shigai Saikai. That was an all for one. These are all for one to fight. Well, to fight Overhaul. But most importantly, Eri is brought back to Night Eye's agency, and Bubble Girl's watching her. So now with this, Not you get a bit stronger, so he fights Overhaul, gets a few good hits in, but as Overhaul got kind of just stab Night Eye right in the stomach with that gigantic pillar, I guess. Midoriya destroys it, and now it's just Overhaul versus Mirio. Mirio got a lot stronger and be slipping hell out of Overhaul. So yeah. I guess the next important arc would probably just be the gentle criminal thing, but make sure. The next arc would be the arc with Gentle. So yeah, so Midoriya was kicked out for being basically vigilante, or expelled, and well, Midoriya proceeds to live his millionaire life, being a bachelor, hanging out with his hockey group, training them more. Until eventually, he decides to basically he needs a certain someone by the name of Gran Torino. Well, Gran Torino introduced himself to Midoriya, saying he used to train Toshinori. Then Toshinori became a dickhead in Gran Torino's eyes, so Gran Torino wanted to train Midoriya. Then that's when Midoriya agreed to it, and basically began training Midoriya's hockey group. Because, well, Midoriya was way above his league. Now with that, during his time before meeting Gentle, he just watched his YouTube videos. But Midoriya began funding a small town of, people that wanted to be vigilantes. Yes, they're pretty well off, but Midoriya was pouring millions into them. Apparently they moved neighborhoods to a better area, and now Midoriya was basically their leader. Shiraki most of the plans are already ruined. But some of the ones that didn't agree, well, they stayed in town. Basically kind of all the leaders of the liberation group. Basically all the leaders. But the random civilians stayed with them. Well, not with them, they stayed with Midoriya. But yeah. So now we'd have Midoriya, who would just meet Gentle by coincidence. And Gentle, everyone knew Midoriya was a vigilante, but, due to Midoriya's just, when he'd be in prison, it'd be kind of impossible to give him no bail. His crimes, yes, they're pretty major crimes, but he'd need bail, because it's kind of a law for him. Not for him, but just for a law. There's a law that because Midoriya's crimes that aren't really being severe, he'd need to bail. And people can pay his bail pretty easily, at least his hockey group can. Pause real quick. Alright, so, it kind of has the whole, not paranormal, but Meta Liberation Army. Well, most of it, the civilians at least, the main leaders, or the strongest ones, aren't on his side. But, the civilians are. And all will be left is just Gentle. Midoriya claps him disrespectfully, but is able to convince Gentle to basically be part of his liberation army. and the original group from My Hero Vigilantes. That whole group. And Midoriya is basically just the best of the best. And his vigilante group grew so big that they can't really take him down. Dozens of people can pay his bail. They can't really frame him for any crimes, because if they try to, his money gets him out of everything. So now I guess the next important arc would probably be joint training, but 1A obliterates. So yeah, I can find more important arcs to do, I guess. So we could have Shigaraki try to like recruit the heads of the Meta Liberation Army, and it worked because he's like, I'll bring down the vigilante group, and then I'll bring down the heroes, and we can reign supreme. Some of the leaders of the old Meta Liberation Army are able to convince some civilians come back, but like half of them. So Turkey has like basically half of his original army size, but they made a lot more Nomu. So yeah, like a lot more high Nomu. Shigaraki already kept his training up. Even like once Midoriya slashed his face, he got back into like just training for not back into, but started training just for All for One. That's the only way you can think of to beat Midoriya. So he's already able to control. Not control, but start to gain control over his One for All. But there's not really anything else to involve here, so to say. So yeah, I'll leave it here, I guess. If you guys enjoyed, like, subscribe, comment for another part. Goodbye, I guess.